All right, guys, so new at 8, we're taking a closer look at a new report on Colorado's 14ers and usage. And actually, one of the headlines out of this report was that fewer people were hiking them this year versus last year. And we're going to talk to Lloyd Athearn now, who's the executive director of the Colorado 14ers Initiative. And great to see you, Lloyd. I know we've known each other for a number of years. I've seen you out doing the work that you do. So this drop of almost 30% of usage, tell me about that.
Sure. So, number one, 2020 was just huge because of the pandemic. People wanted to get outdoors, do things that were healthy and safe during the pandemic. We also had on some of our most popular peaks sort of closer to Denver, we had use restrictions. We had a landowner that had one of the most popular loops close that down from the 1st of May through early August. Clear Creek County posted no parking signs along the road up to Grays and Torreys. Quandary put in parking restrictions starting in August. So a number of those resulted in a significant drop, about 70,000 person days.
So when I read through the report, that's what jumped out to me, were that the restrictions, you just named a laundry list of restrictions. I mean, with the usage drop, which was probably where they wanted this to go with the restrictions, do you think those more restrictions are needed now with this drop?
Well, look, the 14ers are popular. Even in 2021, we had 303,000 people on the 14ers. The biggest day was on Bierstadt with 750 people.
In one day?
In one day, right. And on Quandary, we were still up in the, I think it was 35,000 range over the course of the season. So 14ers are certainly popular. We're doing a lot to control impacts on the trails, protect the fragile alpine tundra, but they're also starting to see more just access, trailhead, those sorts of impacts, and how do we manage the popularity? Because it's really coming from just mid-June through mid-August, and especially on weekends.
That's the hot time, isn't it? The summer hiking. And you guys do so much work up there. I've seen your crews everywhere that I go. That's part of the equation, is it, for you to manage this over the long term?
Right. And one of the misconceptions is that use necessarily translates into impact. So, for example, Quandary, which for the last 4 years or so has been the most climbed 14er, due to a lot of investment we've been able to put into it, use has more than doubled, yet the grade went from a C+ to an A-. So, yeah, it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of volunteers, takes a lot of paid crews out there doing this, but we're hoping to, keep these accessible so people see these just wonderful, approachable Everests and get to have some great times.
Tell me, in your opinion, what you've seen with the pandemic. It changed the way people climb these peaks, right? You've seen some different changes in how they do it, when they do it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, traditionally it's been Saturday followed by Sunday followed by Friday as the biggest days. In the pandemic, we saw enhancing of a trend where more people kind of went midweek. Realistically, it's spreading the use out. People are then not having 1,000 people on a peak the way we saw on some weekends in the past. But, there's just how do we manage this popularity?
Sure, absolutely. And like you said, it's Quandary, is it? Or is it Bierstadt right
Quandary's
now? Which was
well,
the top?
They were duking it out for a number of years, and it was about, I think, 4 years ago that Quandary finally edged ahead. Last year, they were, our best guess, 35,000, where Bierstadt was 32,000. We have counters on both that give us almost 100% accuracy. So, yeah, strangely enough, Bierstadt didn't have any use restrictions, and many of the others did, and yet they fell less than the others, but we're still behind Quandary.
That is an interesting thing. Thank you for the work that you do up there. The reports that you put together are excellent. We'll have it posted on the website so everybody can take a look at that. Lloyd, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.